Just 5 minutes ago, Buckingham Palace confirmed a heartbreaking decision that has shaken the royal family to its core. Senior royals were left in tears as Prince Andrew's remaining titles and honors were officially removed, marking a historic and painful moment that blends family sorrow with institutional accountability. Buckingham Palace confirms a painful decision released. Buckingham Palace has officially confirmed a painful decision that has left senior royals visibly shaken. Unlike rumors or leaks, the announcement came directly from the King's office, signaling the gravity of the matter. The statement was brief but carried significant weight, highlighting that this was not a decision taken lightly. Behind palace doors, aides and family members knew the emotional impact would be profound. One insider noted, "The tone was solemn. Everyone understood this was a moment of real loss." The public statement reflected respect and caution, hinting at the personal and institutional consequences of the decision. The decision itself centers on Prince Andrew, who has formally lost his remaining royal style, titles, and honors. King Charles III initiated the letter's patent earlier in 2025, rescinding Andrew's designation as His Royal Highness and the title Prince. His appointments to the Order of the Garter and Royal Victorian Order were annulled, and his banner was removed from St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, a symbolic and highly visible representation of his exclusion. This marked the final dismantling of Andrew's public royal role, ending decades of ceremonial and state service. Inside the family, the announcement triggered emotional reactions. Senior royals reportedly struggled with the personal cost of the decision, and aides described the atmosphere as heavy, tense, and tearful. The impact went beyond public scandal. It touched identity, legacy, and belonging within the family. Andrew's past contributions to ceremonial duties and state events made the loss profound, reflecting centuries of tradition being disrupted by modern accountability. It's a personal heartbreak as much as an institutional necessity, one source explained. The decision also illustrates the tension between royal tradition and contemporary pressures. King Charles has been under scrutiny to modernize the monarchy while maintaining public trust. Critics long argued that title removals should align with accountability and behavior, rather than happen quietly. By acting decisively, Charles demonstrates that tradition cannot override public responsibility, balancing continuity with ethical duty. Even the family holidays are affected. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie face emotionally fraught choices about attending Sandringham Christmas without their father, torn between loyalty to family and the institution. This year's celebrations symbolize the intersection of duty, love, and personal pain within the royal household. Public reaction has been mixed but sympathetic. Many praised King Charles for making a hard but necessary decision, while others expressed empathy for Andrew, recognizing the personal fallout of his exclusion. Commentators noted that even royals, despite privilege, experience loss and separation like any family. The decision also sets a historical precedent. Analysts suggest that permanently stripping honors could influence future royal protocol, signaling that titles can be revoked in response to controversy. Historians predict this formal action will serve as a reference point for managing internal disputes within monarchies worldwide. Ultimately, the confirmation represents a turning point for the royal family. It reshapes relationships, public perception, and institutional operations, showing that even in a monarchy, pain, accountability, and difficult choices are unavoidable. As one insider concluded, even royalty bleeds, struggles, and must sometimes let go, no matter the cost. The decision: Prince Andrew loses final honors. King Charles III formally confirmed the removal of Prince Andrew's remaining royal titles and honors, marking a historic and painful step for the monarchy. Earlier in 2025, letters patent were issued rescinding Andrew's style, His Royal Highness, and the title Prince, effectively stripping him of his official status within the royal family. This was more than symbolic. It signaled the complete end of his public royal role, closing a chapter decades in the making. In addition to losing his title, Andrew's appointments to the Order of the Garter and the Royal Victorian Order were annulled. His personal banner was also removed from St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, a visible ceremonial indicator of his exclusion from the institution. These formal steps illustrate how thoroughly the monarchy has disentangled him from royal representation, reinforcing the palace's commitment to accountability. The impact of this decision extends beyond public perception. For Andrew, it represents a loss of identity, privilege, and ceremonial legacy, including decades of involvement in public duties, state occasions, and family milestones. A palace insider noted, "It's one thing to resign, another to have your place formally erased from centuries of tradition." This action is the culmination of years of scrutiny following controversies linked to Andrew, including his association with Jeffrey Epstein. The palace has stressed that the decision is not punishment alone, but reflects the responsibilities and standards expected of working royals in modern times. The removal of honors also carries broader implications for the royal family, signaling that titles and privileges are not untouchable. It demonstrates the monarchy's willingness to enforce accountability even within its own ranks, and may serve as a precedent for future decisions regarding royal conduct. In essence, Andrew's final honors being stripped marks the formal and irrevocable end of his active royal life, combining personal sorrow with institutional necessity. The decision leaves a lasting mark on both his legacy and the monarchy's approach to tradition, responsibility, and public trust. Family members left emotional behind closed doors. The confirmation of Prince Andrew's title removal didn't just make headlines. It left senior royals visibly shaken behind closed doors. Reports indicate that when the decision was communicated privately, family members struggled to process both the institutional and personal ramifications. The atmosphere inside Buckingham Palace was described as tense, heavy, and tearful, with aides noting that emotions ran high immediately after the announcement. For the family, this decision struck at more than public reputation. It impacted personal bonds and shared history. Andrew's decades of participation in ceremonial duties, state events, and family milestones made the removal of honors feel like a loss of identity. One insider explained, "It was as much about what this meant for the family as it was about protocol." The emotional strain extended to Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who now face complex decisions about attending Sandringham Christmas without their father. Sources describe their internal conflict as they balance loyalty to their father with duty to the monarchy, highlighting the personal cost of institutional decisions. Aides also reported that conversations in private corridors were marked by quiet sorrow and reflection, with senior family members trying to reconcile love, responsibility, and public expectation. The decision underscored a painful truth. Even within a centuries-old institution, the consequences of accountability are deeply human. Ultimately, the private reaction shows that royal life, despite privilege and ceremony, carries emotional weight and family tension. While the public sees titles and protocols inside the palace, these decisions leave real scars, tears, heartbreak, and difficult choices that no official statement can fully capture. Why this decision was painful, beyond public scandal. Stripping Prince Andrew of his remaining royal honors wasn't merely about public controversy. It cut deeply into identity, legacy, and family bonds. While his association with scandals, including the Epstein affair, had already damaged his public image, the formal removal of titles represents a far more personal and historic loss. This is a man who spent decades performing state duties, ceremonial roles, and family obligations. Taking those honors away erases both his public and symbolic presence within the monarchy. Palace insiders have emphasized that the decision was carefully considered over time, not made hastily. Each honor carried memories of ceremonies, official engagements, and milestones shared with the royal family. As one aide explained, "It's one thing to step back, it's another to have your place formally erased from centuries of tradition." The emotional impact wasn't confined to Andrew alone. Senior family members reportedly struggled to reconcile loyalty, sorrow, and duty, aware that the decision was necessary for the monarchy's reputation, yet painful on a personal level. This decision highlights the tension between centuries-old traditions and modern accountability. Titles that once symbolized service and heritage now intersect with public expectations of behavior and transparency. For Andrew, the stripping of honors is both a public statement and a private heartbreak, a reminder that royal privilege comes with responsibility, and that even the most senior members are not immune to its consequences. Royal tradition versus modern pressures. The removal of Prince Andrew's final honors is a decision that encapsulates the delicate balance King Charles III must maintain between centuries-old royal tradition and the modern expectations of transparency, accountability, and public trust. The monarchy exists as a living institution, steeped in ritual and privilege, yet it cannot operate in a vacuum. In the 21st century, every move, ceremonial, administrative, or personal, is scrutinized under a global lens. The painful decision to strip Andrew of his titles reflects a clear attempt to navigate these competing pressures. For generations, royal titles and honors were considered inalienable markers of lineage and service. Once bestowed, they were rarely rescinded, serving as symbols of stability, hierarchy, and family legacy. Removing such honors is historically exceptional. It signals that even birthright does not exempt a royal from consequence and scrutiny, especially when public faith in the institution is at stake. Andrew's connection to past controversies, particularly his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, made the decision unavoidable. But it was also personally and emotionally wrenching, a stark departure from ceremonial precedent. One palace insider remarked, "This isn't about punishment alone. It's about preserving the monarchy's integrity in a world that won't accept silence anymore." King Charles, in particular, is navigating a dual challenge. On one hand, he must protect the dignity of the institution, preserving the ceremonial and historical continuity that underpins the monarchy's authority. On the other, he is confronted with a public increasingly aware of accountability, fairness, and transparency. Critics have long argued that royal behavior must align with expectations, and that privilege without oversight risks eroding trust. By acting decisively, Charles sends a signal: no royal is untouchable, and legacy must coexist with responsibility. The decision also highlights the human cost of modernizing a centuries-old system. Stripping Andrew's titles affected not just protocol, but also family dynamics. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are caught between their loyalty to their father and their role within the monarchy. Family gatherings, including the Sandringham Christmas, are now fraught with tension, symbolic of the wider conflict between personal bonds and institutional duty. A royal commentator noted, "The monarchy operates like a family, but it's also a public institution, and sometimes the demands of the latter outweigh the needs of the former." The palace's framing of the decision emphasizes duty over punishment, portraying the action as necessary for the continued stability and credibility of the crown. This careful messaging contrasts with the deeply emotional reality behind closed doors, illustrating the dual pressures of tradition and modern scrutiny. Ultimately, Andrew's title removal is more than a response to scandal. It is a defining moment for the monarchy, reflecting a willingness to enforce accountability while respecting heritage. It sets a precedent for how future controversies may be handled, signaling that while the monarchy is steeped in history, it is not immune to the demands of a modern, watchful public. This decision is a striking example of how the crown is adapting to contemporary pressures, balancing continuity with the necessity of evolving in a world that no longer tolerates secrecy or unaccountable privilege. Family rift, Christmas invite drama. The formal removal of Prince Andrew's titles has created more than public headlines. It has intensely affected family dynamics, particularly the position of his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Sources reveal that the sisters are facing an emotional dilemma. Attending this year's Sandringham Christmas without their father present pits family loyalty against duty to the institution. They are reportedly torn, navigating a path between honoring their father and respecting the monarchy's decision. One palace insider noted, "They are caught between love for their parent and their responsibility as royals. It's heartbreaking." The festive season, historically a time of unity, has become a symbolic crossroads. The sisters are now negotiating their presence at family gatherings, fully aware that each choice carries emotional and public consequences. The absence of their father casts a shadow over traditional celebrations and highlights the personal cost of institutional decisions. Inside Buckingham Palace, aides describe the atmosphere as tense and subdued. Conversations in private corridors are said to focus on managing appearances, while ensuring that the emotional well-being of family members is supported. The rift isn't about rebellion. It's about balancing personal bonds with public duty. This moment illustrates a broader reality. The monarchy is not just a ceremonial institution, it is a family, subject to grief, pain, and difficult choices. Decisions about titles and honors affect real relationships, and even the most privileged royals are not immune to the human consequences of accountability. The Christmas season now embodies both tradition and conflict, a period when ceremonial expectation collides with personal emotion. Observers note that these tensions may shape future gatherings and set precedents for how the royal family navigates sensitive internal disputes. Ultimately, the drama surrounding this year's holiday reflects the wider emotional fallout from Andrew's title removal, underscoring that even in one of the world's most public institutions, family relationships remain profoundly personal and fragile. The choices of Beatrice and Eugenie are emblematic of a monarchy negotiating the intersection of duty, loyalty, and personal loss in a modern era. Public reaction, support, and sympathy. The British public and royal watchers responded quickly to the announcement of Prince Andrew's title removal, expressing a mix of shock, support, and empathy. Many praised King Charles III for making a difficult but necessary decision, framing it as a demonstration of accountability and responsibility within the monarchy. Social media and commentary platforms reflected the emotional complexity of the situation, with users acknowledging the gravity of Andrew's fall, while also sympathizing with the personal and familial pain involved. While some criticized the palace for previous delays in addressing Andrew's controversies, many commenters highlighted that the decision, though painful, was long overdue. Observers noted that stripping titles and honors is not only a legal or ceremonial act, but also a symbolic gesture signaling that privilege is contingent on conduct. One popular tweet summed it up: "Royal titles carry responsibility. Losing them is a warning and a lesson." At the same time, there was notable empathy for Andrew himself. Public sentiment recognized that despite privilege, the personal cost of exclusion and separation from family is profound. Analysts pointed out that this mixture of support and sympathy reflects an evolving relationship between the monarchy and the public, where emotional awareness and accountability are increasingly expected. Commentators also stressed that this episode illustrates a broader truth. Even royals are human, vulnerable, and capable of heartbreak. Social media conversations frequently mentioned the impact on his daughters, Beatrice and Eugénie, highlighting the interpersonal consequences of institutional decisions. In essence, the public reaction was multifaceted. Support for King Charles's decision coexists with compassion for Andrew's personal suffering. Observers are recognizing that, beyond protocol and scandal, the royal family experiences the same emotional complexities as any family facing difficult decisions. This response underscores the human dimension of monarchy. Even those living in centuries-old institutions are subject to loss, regret, and the weight of difficult choices. Counterbalance: King's own continuing struggles. While the royal family grapples with the fallout of Prince Andrew's title removal, King Charles III has simultaneously been navigating his own highly public personal challenges, providing a stark contrast in how painful realities are handled within the monarchy. In recent months, Charles has been transparent about his health decisions and treatment plans, showing resilience in the face of age-related challenges. The Financial Times highlighted that his measured openness has drawn empathy from the public, reinforcing the human side of a figure often seen as remote. This juxtaposition, a royal decision causing deep family grief versus the king managing personal struggles openly, underscores the emotional complexity of modern monarchy. While Charles carries institutional responsibility, he also demonstrates vulnerability, a reminder that even those at the highest levels of power are subject to life's pressures and human fragility. People.com noted that his candid approach has been widely praised, emphasizing transparency and resilience as critical traits for a contemporary monarch. The contrast amplifies the significance of Andrew's situation. While Charles confronts personal pain openly, the consequences for Andrew are both public and institutional, reflecting the intersection of family, duty, and accountability. Advisors stress that these dual challenges, one internal, one personal, highlight that the monarchy is not immune to emotional and ethical complexity. Observers note that the king's approach provides a template for empathy, responsibility, and leadership. By facing his own struggles openly, he reinforces the expectation that royals must balance personal humanity with public duty, a standard that underscores why Andrew's removal was inevitable despite the personal cost. Ultimately, the king's transparent handling of his own challenges serves as a counterbalance. It contextualizes Andrew's exclusion as a matter of duty rather than mere punishment, illustrating that even in centuries-old institutions, leaders must navigate human vulnerability alongside institutional continuity. This duality resonates with the public and reinforces the evolving expectations of monarchy in the modern era. Historians say this could set a precedent. Experts and historians are now weighing in on the significance of Prince Andrew's permanent title removal, suggesting it could establish a modern precedent for the monarchy. Traditionally, royal honors were almost untouchable, with removal being rare and often temporary. By taking this decisive step, King Charles III signals that titles and privileges are contingent upon conduct, aligning centuries-old tradition with contemporary expectations of accountability. One historian explained, "This is a formal acknowledgement that even those born into royalty are not above scrutiny." Analysts note that this decision could influence future royal protocol, providing a framework for how the family addresses controversies involving public roles and personal behavior. Comparisons have already been drawn with other monarchies where internal discipline is codified, showing that the British Crown is moving toward a more structured and transparent approach. Palace insiders also suggest that the decision will be studied by historians as part of the evolving narrative of the monarchy, marking a turning point in how honors are awarded and revoked. This formal precedent underscores that the institution can balance tradition with modern expectations, ensuring accountability without undermining ceremonial authority. Ultimately, Andrew's case may serve as a reference for future generations, demonstrating that royal status comes with both privilege and responsibility. The permanence of this decision shows the monarchy is adapting, willing to make painful choices to preserve public trust and institutional credibility, while maintaining its centuries-old legacy. What this means for the future of the family. The confirmation of Prince Andrew's removal marks a profound turning point for the royal family, reshaping not only public perception, but also the intricate dynamics within the household. It highlights the monarchy's ongoing effort to balance centuries-old tradition with modern accountability, demonstrating that even the most senior members are not beyond scrutiny or consequences. The decision makes clear that royal honors are not automatic or immutable. They are privileges tied to conduct, service, and responsibility, not merely inherited by birthright. This represents a significant shift in the way the monarchy communicates both authority and accountability to the public. For family relationships, the emotional ramifications are immense. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie face extraordinarily complex decisions as they navigate the tension between loyalty to their father and adherence to the expectations and duties of the monarchy. Annual traditions, including the Sandringham Christmas, are now imbued with layers of emotional tension and subtle strain, symbolizing the very real personal cost of institutional decisions. One palace insider reflected, "Even in privilege, the family feels the weight of these choices. It's not just protocol, it's personal heartbreak." The ripple effects touch not just Andrew, but the wider family, affecting relationships, gatherings, and private conversations in ways that may endure for years. Historically, this moment is likely to serve as a precedent for future royal controversies, illustrating that the monarchy can act decisively to preserve institutional integrity without abandoning the traditions that underpin its authority. It signals to the public, staff, and future generations that titles and honors carry responsibility, and that failure to uphold standards can have permanent consequences. In a modern era of media scrutiny and global attention, such actions are not merely symbolic. They are essential to sustaining public trust in the institution. Above all, this episode reveals the deeply human side of royalty. Titles, ceremonies, and honors are intertwined with emotion, loyalty, and loss. Even centuries of inherited power and privilege cannot shield the family from the realities of pain, difficult choices, and the emotional weight of responsibility. This decision serves as a reminder that royals are human, navigating grief, family tension, and the consequences of hard decisions under the unrelenting gaze of the public. The crown, like any family, experiences struggle, heartbreak, and the necessity of letting go. Sometimes in ways that are visible to the world, sometimes in private chambers behind closed doors. Looking forward, the ramifications of this confirmation will echo through future family events, ceremonial occasions, and institutional precedents, shaping how the monarchy approaches accountability, loyalty, and legacy for years to come. It's a powerful reminder that even in the rarefied world of royalty, the balance between duty, love, and public expectation is delicate, and the consequences of difficult decisions are deeply felt, both publicly and privately. A painful choice, a historic precedent, even royalty feels loss, showing tradition and accountability can collide with heartbreak.